Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Let's have a quick conversation today about what's taking place with Nvidia and the fact that Nvidia will make a lot of people rich, guys. A lot of people rich. I want to have the conversation today. As you come in today, join us. Appreciate you being here. Let me know what city, what state, what county, what country you're checking in from. And we're going to have a conversation today about a stock that is really, really blowing up. And it blew up, kind of stayed at a certain spot for a while. And I think it's poised to really take off, guys. So I want to have the conversation about the fact that Nvidia is trading up and why Nvidia stock will make a lot of people rich. Just my opinion, but I'm basing it on a lot of different factors, guys, that I've been looking at and researching. So I want to have the conversation today. As you come in, let me know. Give me a thumbs up that you can hear me okay, and we can jump in here, guys, and start to have this conversation. First thing I'm going to do, thank you, Mrs. Moore, for being here. Thank you so much, Connor and Angel. I'm going to first things first, I'm going to share my screen with you real quick because I want to kind of dig into NVIDIA, and it's not going to be a terribly long video. Look, I always say that, right? But then I always have it making it a long video. But it's going to be a video today where I want to kind of start the conversation with look. And if you're not on YouTube or on a place where you can see my screen, you might want to jump over to YouTube. Come check us out at Smart Money Bro on YouTube and join the conversation there. Hopefully, we can get a lively chat going as well. But let me see if I can't find NVIDIA here. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up the stock real quick and see where we are. And one of the reasons I do these videos about Nvidia is because I know there's a lot of people who have bought the stock and who own the stock. And so since there's a lot of people that I watch and we've been talking about it a lot, I kind of like to keep up with it, kind of see where we are with it and just kind of keep that conversation rolling as sort of a it's been sort of a hot stock, but I don't want us just to be looking at, oh, it's just a hot stock, so let me get it. I want us to be more thoughtful about how we actually make these investment decisions and choices. So I want to kind of dig into it a little bit. As we see, guys, and I think I'm sharing my screen right now, we see that let me make myself small. There we go. We see Nvidia is up at 123, trading at 123.54 at the close of the day. Actually had a nice day. Went up from what 120 up to 123 or so. Maybe a little bit less. It dipped down actually at one point in the day, but it's taken a nice little turn here, and I think that the turn is going to be sustainable for a lot of different reasons we're going to talk about here today. So that's kind of where we are right now. I'm looking at the 5 day right now. There's the 1 month. And when we say a dip, this is a dip in the stock price that could occur for many, 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 many different reasons, right? But overall, we look at a year to date since January 1st, which is about 7 months or so. We've seen a nice rise. Yeah, we're going to see a little lulls here and there. We may see some more lulls, but I think that for the most part, especially as we near these earnings reports that's going to come out, there's going to be an earnings report come out. I would say in about what four to 5 weeks or so, late August, August 20 something, 24th or something. And when that, as we near that earnings report, I think there's going to be some momentum that you guys will see in the Nvidia stock. And I think that will be important for you to take note of as you actually go through and you think about investing, or you try to invest, or you want to invest more and you want to put more money into whatever stock. Maybe it's Nvidia, could be other AI stocks. You're going to see that. So I want to just to kind of show you that up front, but then I want to talk about what happened in terms of China, because NVIDIA is preparing a special chip for China. So we're going to have that conversation as well, guys. Let me see who we got in the chat real quick. If you're watching on Facebook, welcome in. If you're watching on LinkedIn, good to have you. Instagram, good to have you. Obviously, YouTube, good to have you as well. Let's see who we got in the chat. San Jose, California is here. Thank you, Robert. Ebony's in the house. Jogo is in the house. Viking George. I mean, if I had any money, I'd invest, but sadly, nothing. Hang in there, Viking George. More money's coming. Artemis, thanks for the thumbs up. Nigel checking in from Winnipeg. Good to have you. Orlando. Robert William, good to have you. Let's see here. Hey, Robert said, I got a lot of NVIDIA shares. Thanks for doing this live. You betcha. Eddie is here. Kudrok. I can't really pronounce it. Eddie is in Seattle. Good to have you, Eddie. And we got someone from Mexico. We got South Holland, Illinois. Suburb right outside of the inner city of Chicago, southwest, sort of southwest of Lakeshore Drive, right? So the conversation is about the fact And it's sort of a fact that Nvidia has already made a whole bunch of people rich. It's poised to make a lot more people rich as well. And so let me jump into this other article real quick from CNBC. Let me close that up real quick. And I'm going to be looking at a few articles real quick, guys, just to have the conversation, just to be informative for my investors in the house, single stock investors, ETF, index funds. I don't care. It doesn't matter really how you invest, right? Stock market news. Okay, so today, and this is from the latest article from today. Hopefully, you guys can see this. And yeah, you can see it. Let's see here. Okay, S&P 500 climbs for the best day since early June. That's over a month, month and a half almost. The S&P 500 had its biggest day of the last 6 weeks or so today. What fueled the S&P? The S&P rose Monday today to notch its best day since June 5th as tech shares made a bounce back, right? On the heels of last week, which was one of the worst weeks for the S&P 500. We're talking about the S&P 500 here, right? It said the benchmark climbed to 1.08% to settle at 5564.41 and clinch its best day since June. Nvidia popped 4.8%, recovering some of its 8% pullback from last week. Other major stocks, tech stocks such as Meta and Alphabet, also rose more than 2% today. We know what happened with CrowdStrike on Friday, right? When CrowdStrike had something go wrong, get messed up computers all over the world, pretty much, right? And it said CrowdStrike was the worst performer today, dropping 13.5%. Now, if you are looking for something that may be on the rebound in terms of individual stocks, you might want to be looking at CrowdStrike, right? And it says it's building on its 18% loss from last week. So we're seeing a rotation back into tech sector after a pretty meaningful sell-off that we saw. That's why stocks came down last week, and tech stocks over the last couple of weeks have been coming down because of sell-offs. It says tech stocks were under pressure last week as investors rotated out of those in favor of smaller names or in favor of smaller caps, right? We talked about that last week, which that sent the S&P lower by nearly 2% last week. Despite tech strong gains, small caps still held up today. The Russell 2000 is probably the most well-known small cap ETF or fund out there. Traders also kept an eye on U.S. political landscape after President Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. So there's a lot going on, but I wanted to point this article out because S&P 500 is up. And when you look at the S&P 500, what fuels the S&P 500 mostly is the tech stocks. So we see tech stocks starting to make another move in the upward direction, right? So let me also take a look at what happened with China, because I also want to tell you on this video, guys, and I jump right in sometimes, so bear with me. But I also want to talk about why Nvidia is actually poised to stick around and it's poised to go higher. We know there's an earnings report coming in just a couple weeks, but it's more than just earnings report. Listen, if you strongly believe that AI is here to stay, then you should probably consider an ETF that holds a lot of Nvidia or holds Nvidia or the individual stock of Nvidia if you believe AI is here to stay. If you believe AI is just a fad, it's going to go away, it's been in a bubble and now it's going to burst, then you don't need to be investing or thinking about tech stocks. If you know something about tech stocks, you're learning about tech stocks, and you see and you think AI is sticking around for a while, this may be a sector where you want to be. Right? Let me take a quick look at what happened with if I can get to it real quick. What happened with China and what's going on with Nvidia and China? I want to have that quick conversation. You guys can kind of see that. If I can find the article, give me just a moment here. I'm struggling trying to get through so much stuff in front of me, right? It's a Reuters. Let's see here. First Reuters. Let's go to it and just pull it up and just talk about it real quick. Let's see here. I thought I had it up. Maybe I don't have it up. Give me a second here. Where's it at? I don't know. Boop, boop. Should be there. Huh. Okay, I don't know where it's at. I'll have to share my entire screen, which is not a big deal because I'll go right to the article. All right, so nope, that's not it. All right, here it is right here. Hopefully, you guys can see it. You'll probably see my entire screen. That's cool too. All right, so you can't see it very well. Let me see if I can pull it up bigger than that. Nah, I can't pull it up bigger than that. All right. So no. All right, I'll just go through it, guys. All right. So Reuters said exclusive Nvidia preparing a version of new flagship AI chip for the Chinese market. So here you have Nvidia that we talked about that's being this major player in all these different areas. They're actually exclusively preparing a version of their new flagship AI chip specifically and only for Chinese market, the Chinese market. Let's see, Nvidia is working on a version of its new flagship AI chip for the China market that would be compatible with current U.S. export controls. Obviously, there's some issues there in terms of what can be shipped over to China and so forth. The AI chip giant in March unveiled its Blackwell, right? Nvidia revealed or let go or showed everybody, hey, we got this new Blackwell chip series coming, which is due to be mass produced later this year. The new processors called Blackwell combine two squares of silicon. They get technical in the article, right? And it says within the series, the B200 is 30 times speedier than its predecessor at some task like serving up answers from chatbot. NVIDIA is going to work with Inspur, one of its major distributor partners in China, on the launch and distribution of the chip, which is tentatively named the B20, right? And these are two different sources that were given information for this particular Reuters article. The sources declined to be identified as NVIDIA. Has yet to, the sources declined to be identified as NVIDIA have yet to make a because NVIDIA has yet to make a public announcement. A spokesperson for NVIDIA declined to comment on this, right? Shares of NVIDIA rose, you know, pre-market today after the publication of this particular story. So people are watching this. Investors are big investors, small are watching this. Washington tightened its controls on exports of cutting edge semiconductors to China. We talked about that last week, seeking to prevent breakthroughs in supercomputing that would help China's military and put China sort of ahead. So remember, guys, if you're old enough, you remember back in the days, we had this race to nuclear with Russia, right? Kind of a Cold War. And as you look at our relations with China right now in terms of Nvidia and some of this technology and semiconductors, it's sort of like a race to the top in terms of computing and semiconducting and speed of processors and GPUs. That sort of thing is sort of coming back to an extent, right? Not as much as it was in terms of the Cold War. It says since then, since 2023, NVIDIA has developed three new chips tailored specifically for the Chinese market that doesn't, break protocol or and break any rules. The advent of tighter export U.S. controls has helped Chinese technology giant Hawaii, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and startups like Tencent and so forth. So this is happening right now. So now a lot of things we don't, and this was on the back page or something. I don't even know if this is no, this was pretty well known today. But the point is, these types of stories about how Nvidia is playing the game in a larger market than just America. They're all over the world, obviously, and they have these burgeoning, is burgeoning the right word? These new openings of new markets that they're exploring and that they're trying to be the first in quite a bit. So they're playing the game in a big way, right? They're playing a game in a big way. Let me see who we got in the chat. Fidelity Mutual Funds. Let's see. Robert Deep in the Green. I keep buying, bro. Nothing wrong with that, Jeremy. I'm with you. I'm with you. San Jose's in the house. Good to have you here, Robert. Let's see here. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Do you look at charts? And was this a dead count? Now, listen, do I look at charts? I have charts over here because I'm on Thinkorswim, and so I have charts and all that. But I don't like to do a lot of the reading the charts, right? Reading the candlesticks. I don't do a lot of reading of candlesticks, right? It's not because I don't trade throughout the day like that typically. So no, I don't do a whole lot of looking at the charts. Taiwan, yes, Taiwan's a major player here, obviously, in terms of what's happening. 849 shares of Nvidia. It's here to stay. Good for you. I'm thinking the same thing, Jeremy. And I'm going to provide you guys with some evidence on this video to back up what I'm saying in terms of it being here to stay. All right. Somebody, I saw the article on Chinese legal chip. Okay, cool. Jeremy Hicks stacking those shares. Not mad at you, Jeremy. AI didn't help all of the airports from shutting down for 2 days. Yeah, you're right. Big issue, big problem. Um, Not a fun deal for people that were traveling and all that good stuff. Guys, thank you so much, Mrs. Moore. Remember to hit that thumbs up button for me, guys, as you come in here today. Please, please, please tap that thumbs up for me if you will. I really, really would appreciate it. Let me see if I can't go back out here and share my screen. There's another article I want to take a look at. It's on Yahoo Finance, if I can find that one. Let's see here. For some reason, everything is not showing up here. That's weird. So the article on Yahoo said the stock market news today, tech roars back and the S&P 500 recuperates. It goes on to talk about U.S. tech stocks ripped higher on Monday today as investors assess the political landscape. All right, obviously what happened with Biden. The S&P 500 went up. Chip-heavy Nvidia led the broad-based rebound following some heavier losses last week. The moves Monday came after a huge shakeup. Obviously, what happened the weekend. Still, political shock. We're not going to get into political shock, but there could be more ramifications as we get closer and closer to election time, right? Keep that in mind as well. I'm not going to go through that whole article like I thought about. Also, don't forget the fact that I'll get into that in a little bit. Let me just move back over here to the chat, see what we got here. Checking in from CT. Let's see, 64 shares. 64 shares so far of Nvidia, shooting for 100. Good for you, DB. Maybe you can do a little trading or a little bit of options if you get there, right? I'm sticking to my 82 shares. So lots of folks in here have Nvidia. Super important to look at. Why? Let's talk about this real quick so we can kind of get this out the way. Why is AI here to stay? This becomes an issue because some people think AI is a fad or AI isn't a boom or a bubble. AI is going to do what happened back in 1999, 2000. It's in a bubble. It's going to burst and everybody's going to no. We could go on and on and on about that. But here's some things. Here's why I believe, guys, I think AI is here to stay. And I think it's why this is the primary reason, in my opinion, why Nvidia stock is going to make a lot of people rich and richer than they are right now. Right. It's because AI is not going the way that some of you may think it will go. Right. Nvidia stock is up today, but I think it's going to hit some momentum here closer to earnings, and I think that's going to catapult it. And when I say catapult it, I don't mean it's going to shoot up like it had been shooting up. We're not going to see $900 per share in the next 6 months. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it will continue to go up and continue to have a favorable run for most investors because I believe that AI is here to stay. Right? Think about the technology advances that we've seen, guys. Constant. Okay. And if you're not in the AI space or if you're not in the computer space or anywhere around technology in terms of that space, you're just going about your everyday life, going to the store, coming home, going to work, come home. You don't really realize how big in the background AI is and has become. You haven't really, you probably don't know the continued improvement on the algorithms and the sophistication of the algorithms. Now, if you're looking at me here on YouTube, or some of you may have a YouTube channel, that even something as simple as the YouTube algorithm is incredibly sophisticated. I mean, incredibly sophisticated. If I was to take you guys on the back half of, say, this YouTube channel, the amount of statistics that are available for me to analyze my YouTube, and this is a part of technology that a lot of people don't see. That's why I'm mentioning it. But if I was to take you on the backside of that and show you, let's say, vidIQ or TubeBuddy, and show you how these things take, you can say 2 words, it will generate a whole paragraph. It'll generate a whole white paper for you, 300 pages long. Listen, if I take you on the backside of YouTube and show you all the data and analytics that are possible, I can break down my viewers from country to country, men versus women, age groups, you name it. I mean, I can break it down into what time you watch, what time you don't watch, whether you're clicking on it, whether the impressions, and I mean, that's just a few, but there's tons and tons of algorithms in the background. So when we're talking about AI, we're talking about the ability to utilize all of that stuff for the betterment of not just me on YouTube, I'm one little guy, but the betterment of everything that we do that causes an analysis of data. And when I say everything, I mean every business. You name the job where you work on, technology and what AI can do is going to be major. Not just major because we can play some games and we have, Google that will we can speak something into Google. That's the small application of AI. That's the small breadth of what AI can do and is in the process of doing. Algorithms, computational power, the ability to move AI data forward, right? Um, just making computers more efficient, not just for me sitting at home, but for businesses, right? The business that bakes cookies, the business that is a restaurant, the business that is a drywall company, the business that is laying concrete, the business that is whatever, name the business, the plumbing business, the water hydration, the water systems, the meat, electronic, the light maker, electric, the gas, all that stuff is powered by it benefits from the power of AI, right? So it's huge. And I don't think the average everyday person really realizes how big it is. We just, we look on our what do you call it? iPhone, or if you don't have an iPhone, you're an Android. We look on our Android or iPhone, and guess what happens? We see, oh, okay, they added that little button right there. Listen, they added that little button. It's cool for you, but look, that could mean the difference between a $2 million revenue and a $1 million revenue for a small business, right? And what powers America is small business, is business. If you can get businesses, listen, if you're sitting at home today, listen to this, and you can create or invent something that will make businesses more efficient, you could have $1 million idea sitting in front of you, right? Because that's the whole purpose of America. And that's what AI does. It makes not only our lives more efficient, but it makes businesses more efficient, right? So AI has an effect on the economy because it increases things like productivity, right? If you can increase productivity, you ain't going nowhere, right? You're not going nowhere as a technology or as an industry or as a sector or whatever you want to call it. If you can make businesses run more productive and be more efficient, you're not going nowhere. If you can create new markets, right? And you can totally transform industries from $1 billion industry to $1 trillion industry. You're not going nowhere. This is why I'm telling you, AI is here to stay, guys. In my opinion, AI is not going nowhere. Businesses are heavily investing in AI as we speak. Why? Because businesses want to what? They want an advantage over other businesses. How do you get an advantage over other businesses in the same market, in the same sector, right? Or similar markets or similar sectors? You increase your technological capabilities. And when you increase your technological capabilities, you go from being able to create that pair of jeans, at a certain price and then sell them at a cheap, you make, instead of making the pair of jeans for $3, you make the pair of jeans for $2. And then you still sell them, instead of selling them at $35, you still sell them at $35 and you make them for, now if you make them for $2 and now you make them for $1 because you got more ability to do it based on technology, you just doubled your profits. Is that double the profits? I could be wrong, but you get what I'm saying. So businesses are heavily investing in AI to get these type of competitive advantages, right? Yeah, they can tell you all day, we want to get AI to make the experience. Listen, they want to make more money. Let's keep it 100. They want to make more money. And part of that making more money is making it easier for you. So now you don't have to type everything you want into a phone. You could just pick it up and say it. Tell me what was Aunt B's last name on Andy Griffin, right? You could just say it in the phone. You ain't got to go searching, looking, typing, thinking. What was, you just got to say it in the phone. They make it easier for you. They enhance your experience as a customer on your iPad, on your iPhone. Or they optimize the operations that are happening throughout the whole warehouse. Now the warehouse doesn't cost $17 million to run every year. It costs $13 million to run. And the business now has a competitive advantage. This is what AI does. This is what AI does for businesses. That's why it's so important. And that's why I don't think it's going anywhere. Right? Because AI is in every field you can think of. Right? We talked about before transportation, finance, healthcare, whatever. Right? It has an ability to solve complex problems and perform the different things to do that may have previously taken 10 man hours to do. Now it can get it done in 5 minutes. Guess what? Boom, you just made the company triple its profit because now we don't have to take 10 man hours and 3 people. We can just take a machine and boom, and in 10 minutes it'll give me everything those 10 workers would give me. I'm sorry, those 5 workers or those 3 workers in 10 man hours. This machine is going to give it to me in 10 minutes. More efficient, competitive advantage, right? The automation that AI produces is crazy, right? So it can, yes, it will replace some of you, some of us, some jobs will be replaced ultimately, right? Right? It's going to reduce. What's the most expensive thing that every business has to pay? It's usually the most expensive thing, depending on the industry. It's payroll. It's paying human beings to be there and work. AI makes it more efficient. It won't totally get rid of human beings, but instead of having 100 human beings, it might need 75, right? I don't think that's going to go anywhere, right? So you're talking about data, you're talking about processes, you're talking about even something as simple as decision making, right? AI can enhance decision making. It could reduce human error on a job, right? And it's obviously going to spit out like the back end of YouTube I was telling you about that is controlled by algorithms. It's going to spit out data driven information, predictions, analytics, real time, real time info, right? And ultimately helps businesses grow and be more competitive, right? And the beauty about some of this AI, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you're a gamer, you may notice this, right? When you're talking about AI, you're talking about the possibility of not just generative AI, but we're talking about customization of AI. If you play a game the way you play the game, the machine learns how you play the game. And when the machine learns how you play the game, now it's customized based on you. I mean, that technology is there and available. It's all based on AI. It ain't going nowhere, right? It ain't going nowhere. And again, I'll say it again. AI is built on top of existing technology, right? It's built on top of existing technology. So therefore, the underlying technology is in place, not just physically in front of us, but it's in place in us, right? We understand it, we know it, right? Once Siri came out, there's no Siri ain't going back, but going back. She's out. Once Siri came out, now you got these other things coming out, right? So, these other things, these other what they normally call innovations, right? Innovations in technology just build on top of previous technology. So all the technology and the infrastructure is in place for AI. It ain't going nowhere, in my opinion. Now, will it have lulls and then it swoop up? have a few more lulls, swoop up, but ultimately it's going to be up, right? So that's my take on that, guys. I want to point that out to you because sometimes we think about AI, and I've heard people say this. Oh, AI is just a bubble. Nah, it's going somewhere. Ha, don't worry about AI. Look, we won't be talking about AI in 2 years. I actually heard people say that, right? But I think it's going to be here to stay. Validated. Good to have you. Let's see here. Pistol Pete's in the house. Frank Ellis is here. Good to have you. Yeah, guys, thank you so much, Mrs. Moore. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Overall, AI's ability to enhance business and humans is going to drive economic growth, is going to drive competition. Is AI has the ability to tackle tough problems and help businesses grow and help businesses profit and help businesses be more efficient. It ain't going nowhere. Listen, Nvidia here, and here's the beauty. This is why I do these videos about Nvidia, because not only is AI not going nowhere, but Nvidia is handling about 75 to 80% of the market. Will they always have 75 or 80% of the market? No. But Nvidia is the leader in GPUs, graphic processing units. Nvidia has been taking video from your gaming system and turning it from what's RU kit? What was that one back in the day? Not the power. I forgot. I used to play it though. They have a man that throw fire at you. RU kit, right? Just don't know what the name of. If somebody know the name of that video game from back then, let me know. Put it in the chat. RU kit, and he would throw the fire over here, the flame, and the flame would move really slow like this, right? Barely going along, right? And then he jumps and tries to do, he has like 4 moves, right? This and that, right? Street Fighter. That was it, Street Fighter, right? You kid, right? But listen, I haven't played a video game in probably, 20 years or so. But the point is this, when that video game came out, that was top stuff. And NVIDIA has been improving on on that video for the last 25 years. Now when you pick up a video game, it looks like you're there. It looks like these people are like human beings on the video game, right? So Nvidia is best known for that type of work, graphic processing units. But think about all the potential uses for that. Think about hospitals as they change the way a sonogram looks, or how a doctor can go inside of your liver and look in your liver based on this new graphics processing that they have available that's been innovated and innovated and innovated. You guys can admit now, sonograms, when you looked at a baby 30 years ago, you look at the sonogram today, the baby look like it's almost real. The baby is real, but you know what I'm saying? The baby looks like it's already, about to go to first grade or something on the sonogram. You look at a sonogram like this, is this a real sonogram nowadays? Right? Especially if you haven't seen one. The sonogram back in the day, you couldn't even identify what is the baby. Now, what? Oh, that's the eye right there, right? But you don't do that right now. The sonogram is like the baby is looking right in your face, talking to you almost. So the point I'm trying to make is, think about the uses for enhanced graphics in the healthcare industry, right? That's just one industry, right? Think about the plumbing industry that sends the camera down into the when they I don't know what you call it, but they send the camera down into the ground to look through the pipe to see if it's been busted or hurt. But and they're going through the whole pipe. Think about, my point is, it can be used in a lot of different industries, not just gaming. But I'm gonna tell you this about gaming: the gaming industry alone is more than twice as big as movies and music put together. When you put I'm talking about worldwide. When you put movies and music together, the gaming industry is twice the size of those combined. So the gaming industry, in terms of dollar and revenue generated and all that good stuff, the gaming industry is ginormous. And if Nvidia is the major player in providing GPUs in the game, it that alone is enough to say, wow, Nvidia is a baller, right? But anything having to do with professional visualization is going to be huge for Nvidia, because they are most highly regarded for their performance in that area, their innovation in that area. And I'm just trying to explain to you guys why Nvidia stock will make a lot of people rich. And if you decide to be in it, There's a few things you got to know, but if you decide to be in it, whether it's ETFs, index funds, or you want to buy the individual stock, in my opinion, it's not a bad buy at this point if you are convinced that AI is here to stay. Let's see what we got here. Somebody says was it Mortal Kombat? No, it wasn't Mortal Kombat. It was the other one they said. What was it? Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat was a little different. Mortal Kombat was like a little bit, it was always considered, I thought, a little bit of notch up from Street Fighter, but Street Fighter was it. Mortal Kombat, I played that too. Let's see here. Let's see here. AI in farming and construction, John Deere and Caterpillar. Yes, they use technology huge. So yeah, you're talking about, food supply, for the most part, huge. And obviously construction is huge. Let's see, we came a long way from ping pong game and Atari. Yeah, I used to love those tennis games back then. Let's see, to be fair, sonograms haven't changed much, but I get what you're saying. Okay. So yeah, I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. Said we have medical imaging. Kareem said, Kareem. So yeah, I appreciate that. Manless military drones, definitely an innovation in AI, no doubt. No doubt. That's huge. Let's see. The gaming industry is a monster. It's very, very big, guys. It's tremendous. Even though it's been looking fuzzy since the stock split, I still believe in holding strong to have Nvidia stock being 30% of my portfolio and the VGT ETF as my tech ETF. Okay, nothing wrong with that, Suave. I think that's Suave. Said that they have the Nvidia as 30%. 30% is kind of high. Okay, it is kind of high for me, right? But again, everybody's different, right? I don't want to have 30% of my overall investing portfolio into one stock. I'm a little bit gamey with that, Suave, but that's just my opinion. Again, personal finance is personal. Think about, let me tell you this about Nvidia. Think about what they call what's called machine learning, right? Machine learning. That's I don't want to get too deep into it, but that's another area where Nvidia rules the day. And then of course, those data centers, right? Providing those high performance data centers where they have, that's basically an AI workstation that may take the place of a building or whatever, right? It's That's out there, and Nvidia leads the sector in that area as well. Not to mention vehicles, right? Let me get that off screen. Vehicles, we know vehicles in terms of Nvidia is highly invested in self-driving cars. Okay, the hardware, the software, all the things needed for self-driving cars. So that's sort of technology that may be 10 years away, 5 years away, but it's coming. And I'm sure, matter of fact, I'm sure in certain applications, whether it be military or what have you, I believe it's happening as we speak, right? But healthcare, life science, obviously entertainment, gaming, even in the cryptocurrency mining. If you're a crypto person, NVIDIA's GPUs are huge in the crypto mining community, right? Due to their speed and high ability to get a lot of computations done quick. And then we talk about even in here's one. I just saw this I didn't see the movie, but I saw it was on TV. How about remember iRobot? How many saw iRobot? Right? iRobot. All right. Every time I think about iRobot, that movie was made back in 2004. And here we are in 2000, 20 years later or so, 2021 years later, and we still haven't seen that level, but I've seen it coming. It's just going a lot slower, right? But this is just to highlight NVIDIA has a broad influence across all different types of industries, and it has a huge role as a technological innovator that you just got. If you're investing, you should know about this, right? This is something that you should be aware of as an investor. Let me just take a look at this right here. I'm gonna go back to the chat here in just a moment, guys. Let's see here. Somebody asked me earlier about the U.S. election and how that might fare with Nvidia stock. Will Nvidia stock be poised to take a twist or a turn one way or the other? And I thought about that, and I said, well, let me share this article with you guys real quick. This off of News and Insights. Let me go there real quick and share this article because I thought it was a good question, but I wanted to take some time to actually talk about the answer to that question instead of just answering it on the comment section. So let me just share this screen with you guys real quick and just go over an article that kind of touched on it a little bit. Let's see here. because we have this election coming up. Even though we're a money channel on here, guys, I can't ignore the obvious big news in terms of what happened with this election coming up, right? And I've talked about it, I hit on it a little bit in the past few weeks, but there's a you just got to keep it 100, right? It's a huge election going on. It's going to go on, and you had the current president who said, "I am out of the race. I'm not running for reelection." Just yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, just yesterday. And then at the same time, we have people coming back and saying, "Wait a minute, if you ain't running, then how are you fit to actually even serve for the next 4 months?" And then who's going to be the person that takes over for him? And is that process? How is that process going to work? It's a lot involved, right? I don't know if I told you before, guys. Maybe I did, but 2024 is the biggest election year that we've seen in the history of the world that we've been taking, in the last 150 years, 200 years, when since they've been measuring all this stuff. It's the biggest election year in the world, around the world. There's like 60% of all countries are electing a new president or a new head of their country. So it's a really big year, and you've probably seen some of that happening in some of the other countries. Is Nvidia stock a high risk play ahead of the U.S. election? This was written today. As we approach the U.S. election, Nvidia stock has been on an increasingly volatile ride, leaving investors to wonder each day whether they're in for an exciting adventure or a nerve-wracking drop. Here's the kicker: as a long-term investor, you will experience these up and down, up and down, up and down. Those things happen. Chinks in the armor happen. But if you are alone, if that's it, as a in the short term, they happen in the short term. As a long-term investor, though, you have to be willing to say, okay, what is the big picture here? Is it just the fact that Nvidia is going to stick around 120 per share, 125 per share over the next 6 months? Or are we investing in Nvidia for the 3-year mark and the 10-year mark to see it go from 120 to 420, or 120 to 820 per share, right? So if you're in it for the long term, just remember these short little chinks happen, right? It says last week, Nvidia was among the high-profile semiconductor stocks to turn lower, with the AI chip leader responding to headlines from both President Biden and the GOP nominee Donald Trump that ramped up the hawkish talk around advanced semiconductor technology and China trade. That story came out last week too. And that followed closely on the heels of a rocky end to June for Nvidia, with many investors scraping money off the top by selling when it went to 130, 135, 128. They scrape money off the top. Scrape money off the top just means they bought it for 119. They bought 2,000 shares for 119. Now the shares go to 135. They scrape some of that money off the top. That lowers the stock, right? Not to mention Nvidia had a 10-for-1 stock split. So it says while Vice President Harris seems to likeliest nominee for following Biden's we can withdraw from the presidential race, the DNC convention, Democratic National Convention, is about a month away. That said, the vice president isn't necessarily expected to deviate from the current administration's stance on semiconductors, including advanced tech trade with China. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've had a big issue with advanced tech trade with China and China's relationship with Taiwan. And that's been spoken about by the current president. Despite the recent volatility, NVIDIA's financial performance has been stellar. The company reported record revenue, with its data center segment showing an incredible 427% surge. This growth is driven by the relentless demand for AI technologies, putting NVIDIA at the forefront of the AI revolution. And reports today suggest that NVIDIA is working to design a compliant AI chip for the Chinese market, which I mentioned earlier, with shipments expected as soon as Q2 of 2025. So NVIDIA's stock is a high-risk play ahead of the U.S. election, or do the recent dips present a golden buy opportunity for savvy investors? And it goes down to give you information about NVIDIA, the tech giant behind their GPUs, and AI is known for its dominance in gaming and data centers. NVIDIA's business model revolves around selling specialized chips. It goes on to talk about, it gives you some pros and cons and where it could be, where it couldn't be in terms of next quarter earnings and so forth. So without going too deep into that, it just to say that there's a possibility of maybe some pullback, there's a possibility of some jump, right? But I'm saying that if you're in this thing for the long haul, you need to be looking at Nvidia as a possible jump, right? It says Wall Street analysts are bullish on Nvidia, with Loop Capital and other places raising its price target. Some places had a price target of 150. Loop Capital had a price target of 175, and Piper Sandler's one that hiked its own target for Nvidia at 140. The average analyst price target for Nvidia was 139.41 heading into today's trading, 13% higher than its current levels. Out of 39 analysts covering Nvidia, 33 rated as a strong buy right now. Now, you may be saying, I don't care about all that. I just want to know, boom, 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 boom. But those are things to think about when you're doing your investing. Things to think about. What are the analysts who study this thing for a living? What are they saying about the stock right now as we speak today? Right? So that's my opinion on it, guys. I just want to give you this because I say, listen, as a savvy investor, you gotta know what's taking place in the industry. You have to know what the competition is doing. You got to know what type of moat is around a stock or a company. Moat being like the insulation that it has from its competitors. There's many ways you can explain a moat, but basically, how insulated is the stock and the company from the competition who's trying to do what they do, right? Somebody said Nvidia is not a basket, it's a world. Yeah, it's ginormous. Let's see here. Guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for me. If you're watching, please just tap the thumbs up button for me real quick. I really, really would appreciate it. Usually on Mondays, as the trading week starts off, I like to have these conversations about 7:17 or 7:05 in the evening, my time, because I think it's important to kind of get your grips for the next day. I could do it Sunday night, but I say, hey, sleep, relax, get yourself together on Sunday, and then Monday, let's see what the first day of the trading week has done, and then we can come in and see, okay, how should we be reacting or thinking as investors, right? How should we be thinking as investors? Let's see here. Somebody said Nvidia is still going up, but it has to have a cap based on world total wealth. Yeah, but I think it's got room. I think it's got room. I think it's got cushion. The gaming industry is a huge monster, said Frank. Let's see. Even though it's been looking fuzzy since the stock split, I still believe in holding strong to having Nvidia stock being 30% of my portfolio. Nothing wrong with that. I think I read that earlier. Sorry, guys. AI will give us a warp drive. Not sure what that means there. Chipotle is doing good too. Yeah. A lot of stocks were on sale last week. A lot of individual stocks. Whatever you had in your stock watch list, you might have wanted to pick up last week or at least early in this week, right? Because we don't know what we're seeing, depending on the sector, depending on the stock, depending on the industry. It just all depends. Let's see, guys. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, get those thumbs up. Appreciate that, Kareem. Get those thumbs up, guys. Get them up. Get them up. Get them up. 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 Cryptocurrency is still better and faster than regular stocks. Mr. M, I'm not a big crypto guy. Hate to tell you that, but I'm not a big crypto guy at all. Let's see. Let's see. Updated July. If you get into investing for hoping for a really quick and high return, you'll end up really broke. Yeah, that does happen. Appreciate that, Mrs. Moore. Get those thumbs up, guys. Also in the chat, I always mention I like to just do a little break. Mint Mobile. Check out them in the description box below. I'm a big fan. I'm a user. Easy, 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 inexpensive. Solid customer service. Check out Mint Mobile. There's a link to that. Also in the description box, guys, there's a link to my other platform where we're digging more deeper into single individual stocks and stock picking and going behind the scenes. And we're going to do more and more over there as you guys join there, and more videos that are only set for that platform. The very first link you see in this description box on YouTube is over there. You can also jump on my schedule. That's in the description box. Get your 24 Laws of Money free ebook. That's in the description box as well. Let's see. How's it going? Hey, the Willie Wilo. Good to have you here. Thank you for being here. And if you didn't catch what we said, you can always take this thing back. But we're talking about why Nvidia stock will make a lot of people rich. It's already made a lot of people rich. There's other things that's going to make it rich. One of the most important things, as I've mentioned here, guys, is that AI is here to stay. And the leader in AI is Nvidia, right? That's like me saying, Water is very important and here to stay. We're all going to need water. Okay, so nothing wrong with investing in some water or looking and doing your research and investing in some water, right? It's here to stay and ain't going nowhere, right? And I think the same is true about AI. Let's see here. Of course, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I have 61 shares and I'm buying more. Said price of war. I'm holding for 10 years. Good for you. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Nvidia will be 1,000 in 2 years. I think it's very, very possible. Don't mark my word. I'm not an analyst. I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm not an expert in anything, right? But I think Nvidia is poised to at least triple in the next 3 years. At least triple in the next. I think we could be looking at this thing in 3 years and Nvidia could easily be trading at 360 bucks per share. Easily be trading at 360 400 bucks per share, right? I'm not telling you to invest. I'm telling you to do your own due diligence and do your research. That's what I'm telling you to do, right? Somebody said if Bitcoin goes to 1 million, what is Bitcoin at? I haven't even looked at Bitcoin in 2 months, right? Or less, guys. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so people are cutting back by companies that are reporting earnings every week. Yeah, there's a lot of earnings reports are coming out here in the next few weeks, especially in August. Quite a few are going to come out here in about 2 or 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks in August. Let's see here. Putting coal, a cool 500 into Nvidia tomorrow, said Rish. Let's see. Smart Mobile should become a coin. SMB should be a coin. I like that. Okay, SMB. Okay, that's pretty cool, right? I could start my own ETF or something, right? But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I don't like crypto either. Yeah, I'm not a big fan, guys. I'm sorry. I know we got some crypto folks in here, but just not me. Listen, Nvidia is powering AI. AI is powering businesses. AI is powering businesses. Nvidia stock is up slightly, right? 4 or 5 bucks today. I think it's poised to go higher. And I really believe that as we get closer to earnings, which is going to be in late August, as we get closer to earnings, I need you guys to hear me on this. If Nvidia has a really solid earnings report, which they're projecting is going to be solid, if it goes above and beyond the projections for earnings with its next its next quarterly earnings report, I believe Nvidia will have a boost. Will it go to 150 in the next month or two? I'm not saying that. But I think there will be a boost. And I think that a lot of folks think that AI is kind of, it's not going anywhere. It's kind of run its course. I think it's just beginning. I think it's just beginning for all the reasons that I laid out. If you missed the reasons, go back and rewind this thing and check them out. But for all the reasons I've talked about, the fact that Nvidia is all over emerging markets. They are all over emerging markets with their technology. I mean, the grasp that they have on the world in terms of AI is almost astonishing. And it's a little bit, it's like, whoa, they do that too? They're in that too? Oh, they provide GPUs and processing units for that? Oh, they do data centers for them? All of their customers are in the Mag 7, right? Apple's a customer of Nvidia, right? Google's a customer of Nvidia. Amazon is a customer of Nvidia. Keep naming them. They're customers of Nvidia. Yes, they're developing their own technology. Yes, they want to make things quicker, faster. But that's several years out, right? That's several years out. So you have to consider this entire spectrum of what I've been talking about here about the fact that, hey, it's up and AI is not going nowhere. This is why Nvidia is going to make a lot of people richer. I should have named the video richer instead of rich. It's going to make a lot of people richer. And just be careful and make sure that you spread this risk around. Please, please, please. I stress this every video. I can't stress it enough, guys. Please listen to me when I tell you this. Please listen to me because I don't want you to make the mistake. I am asking you very, very nicely. Please, please, please do not put all of your money in one stock called Nvidia because I could be totally wrong. And every YouTuber and every financial analyst, they could all be totally wrong. That's a risk. Please don't put all your money in Nvidia. Spread it around. Some of you love ETFs. That's a great place to be. Nothing wrong with that. You get the S&P 500, Nvidia 6 or what, 5, 6 or 7% of the S&P 500 ETF or index fund, right? Or you get a semiconductor ETF, right? Whatever it could be. But spread that money around, guys, please. And the reason I have to stress that is because I've seen two or three. I've seen probably 24 people in the last month who have told me I got all my money in Nvidia, or I got 50% of my portfolio in Nvidia, or I have no other investments, but I have a little bit of Amazon, a little bit of Microsoft, and I got 30 shares of Nvidia, but I have no other money anywhere else. That's a mistake. Guys, do not do that as an investor. Stop underestimating the fundamentals of investing. Investing in something that you know about, not panicking, right? Selling low and buying high, right? Making sure that you account for risk. Spending money you can afford to lose on investments, right? And diversification. These basic premises of investing that you have to hold near and dear to your heart. Get the hype out of your system, right? Don't come into the investing world all hyped up, because you all blown up and hyped up, because you're going to leave deflated. You're taking too much risk if you put all your money in Nvidia. It said Walamala said Nvidia is a customer of TSM. Absolutely. TSM is doing a great thing out there. Somebody said, I think Nvidia will go to 200 shares by the end of the year. Possible. The president and CEO sold 4 days last week and keeps selling, which he knows a slowdown is coming. Again, part of those sell-offs that you see from executives at at companies in general, some of those sell-offs you see from executives and owners and CEOs of publicly traded companies. So many of those are predetermined sell-offs that have to happen on certain days, and they're already determined to happen. So don't necessarily judge that until you actually understand, was this a predetermined sale of stock that the CEO or the executive had to make based on a form that was filed 6 months ago or last year? You have to know that before you judge that, right? Because sometimes that's all it is a predetermined sale, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he sold, I better sell. No, chill out. Listen, when you own $25 billion worth of a company, you're gonna sell off a little bit here and there, right? So just keep that in mind. All right. So I hope this information has been helpful for you guys. I hope you guys can at least glean a little bit off this that will help you moving forward, or at least in terms of making decisions about Nvidia, about the fact of where they are, what their position is, where they play, where they're active at, what they can do, what AI can do for companies, for businesses, for economies, right? And not to mention these emerging technology areas that are being forged every day and that are being actually built towards by companies like AMD and Intel and Qualcomm and TSM, right? TSMC, right? All these companies plus Nvidia, they're playing in a game that is not going anywhere anytime soon. We're not going to go back to the point where AI wasn't important. Technology just doesn't go like that, right? It hasn't gone like that in the last 40 years. When technology goes in a direction, it may slow down going in that direction, but it's still going to go in that direction, right? Let's see here. Yes, exactly. Kareem is saying the same thing. When they sell shares, the SEC has set up so many rules that they must follow to avoid the appearance of insider trading, because listen, when you're an executive at a company, right? I don't name the company, Eli Lilly, Berkshire Hathaway, right? Whatever it may be. When it could be Netflix, whatever. When you're an executive, what do you have access to? You have access to what they call insider information, right? And as an insider with insider information, the SEC wants to regulate you so you're not at the point where you're selling off real fast because you know that something huge is coming down the pike. So they set up these mechanisms, and one of the mechanisms is saying we have to predetermine when you're going to sell shares of stock or how much shares of stock you're going to sell. That has to come ahead of time. Okay, so don't always use that as a litmus test for you to make a decision about a stock or to get out of a stock, right? Be careful. So these are the things that you got to have conversations. We got to have conversations about because we have a lot of new investors in this group, in this chat, coming here every single Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday that we come on. And I want you guys to be good at it. I want you to be good at it. I want you to be knowledgeable. And I don't want you getting too hyped. I don't want you getting too low. I want you to throw the emotion out the window and use sound reasoning, a strategy, some goals, your core beliefs, some computation, right? Understanding earnings per share, PE ratios, debt, whatever, free cash flow. These things that you have to kind of understand a little bit about to make good, solid decisions, right? So I hope this was helpful for you guys. If it was helpful, give me a thumbs up and then hit the like button as well. And share this information. If you know somebody who's a new investor, somebody's just getting started, somebody that wants to learn and wants sort of they want it in plain language. So they don't have to watch Bloomberg TV for these little 3-minute skits or these 3-minute talks and not understand and have to go research. They want somebody who's just talking normal and plain, but trying to explain things in a way that a sixth grader could understand it. Because when it comes to some of this stuff, let's be honest, sometimes we got to get this stuff in plain language, right? We prefer it that way. If this was helpful for you, share this information with somebody that you know, somebody that you want to see do better, and maybe in your group. You got a Facebook group, something like that. Drop this video in there for me, right? This is just information for anybody, and I hope it was helpful for anybody. If it was, hit that like button, and we're going to be back on here probably in a couple days doing a live on Wednesday evening, 7:10. Then we'll come back on Thursday, and I got some more things we're going to talk about. We might even take a look at some other things, some other stocks as well that are right here in terms of competing and doing well. So, hey, again, check out the description box below. Appreciate you being here. You guys have a wonderful evening. And hey, as I always say at the end of every video, I got to end it with this. Oh, by the way, thanks, Mrs. Moore. Appreciate you being here. Miss Reynolds, Michael Anthony, Pistol Pete, Ruben, Michael Anthony, big shout out, Laker Raider, Miss Reynolds, I think I said, Kareem, Zach, Robert William, Drizzle, Mike Pavlock, Ruby Rowe. I could keep going on and naming. Jeremy Hicks in the house, right? The Willie Wilo. Okay, I'm done. All right, listen. Hey, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take good care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.